I was thinking, as rewatching the films, part of our, I think, attempt to deal with queer time, some of it comes from the work themselves, and then some of it comes from the process of watching it. And I think particularly for some of the older works, where we tend to kind of read retroactively some queer content into it, or think about some of the things that have stayed with us or that have changed over time. Some of the stuff from the 90s which continue to resonate, the work from the 60s that still persists. And I was wondering what it was like for you to think about watching something like Search Engine, for instance, that was made some 20 years ago now in the context of sort of your practice today. But in particular, I was thinking about a line that actually came from Frank Scott in the other film that has stuck with me and I think really captures something about queer time, where he says there, the body doesn't believe in progress, its religion is the present, not the future. And in Search Engine, this was made in the late 90s, where I think there was still a sense of faith in the possibilities offered by the internet. A certain idea that it offered some kind of freedom, some kind of space for a kind of open queer desire. And I think your work, and particularly in that film, really sort of interrupts that fantasy by introducing race, right? And the way in which race interrupts queer desire, and this idea perhaps of a kind of utopian future that we get from the internet. And I'm wondering now, I think in a moment where the internet seems anything but full of possibility, or some of the possibilities maybe appear a bit more threatening than it once did. I was wondering if you could speak to that.
Okay. Yeah, actually, you just completely shocked me when you told me it was almost 20 years ago. It's like, oh, you're right. I forget how long ago these things were. But for those of you of a certain generation, when you watch that film, that video, you hear the sound of a phone modem, and that's something that almost nobody remembers anymore. What the internet used to be like. It used to be much, much slower and much, much smaller. But we were, despite the very slow speeds, we were optimistic as well. With that particular video, it's kind of on the cusp between certain technologies. So in the beginning, you see these newspaper ads, classified ads for looking for love, and you hear this audio from these phone contact ads. This was a particular gay contact system that happened before the internet, but it's kind of between the newspaper ads and the internet. We had this system where we could phone into a central computer and record voice ads and listen to other voice ads and leave messages for each other. And so I was, those newspaper ads were actually from a Vancouver gay newspaper. And this was in the 90s, and I would go through this newspaper and I would read page after page and see all these images of gay men, and they're all white men. Now this is Vancouver, which was 20% Asian already. And it's like white man, pretty white man, party, party, advertisement, advertisement, white man, white man, white man, white man. So we weren't anywhere in the newspaper until the very last page. Suddenly in the classifieds, there's evidence that we exist.